Welcome to Ranch Life Logic. We're going to be working with Cotton today, who began pretty well, but ended up having a wreck, and we had to work with him and help him overcome some fear. We teach our young horses to stop, disengage the hindquarters, cross over in the front, and then move off again, like this. We'll use these maneuvers later on when we get on their back and begin to ride. I started doing this work with Cotton a few months ago, and we work along with him fairly slow. Our goal is to help them find scary things like this flag under his belly and help him learn to overcome that fear by trusting in us. We keep introducing scary things to them, and once we get a reaction that we want, we remove the stimulus and reward them with a release. A horse learns from a release, not from pressure, so the most important thing that we can do is take the stimulus away when they respond the way that we want them to. Watch Cotton's head. He's turning it left and right, looking at the stimulus underneath his belly with each eye. I can tell that he's becoming comfortable because he drops his head just a few inches, and now he'll reach down and smell that scary thing and realize that everything's okay and that he can trust me. He's free to go whenever he wants. He doesn't have to stand and let that scary thing flop around. I just ask him to stop, slow down, look at it again, and rethink the situation. He's not sure how to respond, and so he just keeps moving his feet. When I feel like he's comfortable, I just bump him a little bit with my right hand in the lead rope and ask him to stop. As I help him discover new things and overcome fears, he will eventually always look to me for guidance and direction when scary things pop up. I know that he's becoming relaxed when I see signs of relaxation. Horses communicate really well if we'll just watch. When his head lowers a little bit, or he licks and chews, or looks down and smells, I know that he's thinking and feeling comfortable with the situation. It's time to introduce a saddle blanket. He does really well with this. He really trusted me and felt like everything was okay. Because I'm an old man with poor balance, I've hired a couple young men to come help me out. These boys can ride, but they haven't had a whole lot of experience with colts. One of the things that a lot of people think they can do is hold a horse in a spot. If that horse wants to go somewhere, he's going to go, as you just saw. Another big mistake most people make is they just think they can go to that horse and throw things up there. But we need to help them to feel comfortable with us first, especially one that has recently had a wreck like Cotton has. Cotton was saddling pretty good, but he ended up getting a saddle up on him, and he took a step and moved, and that saddle fell off and scared the heck out of him. And now he's real cautious about anything going up on his back, especially on his right side. I'm going to approach him with the saddle here in just a minute, just to show you that he's not willing to stand still. So we're going to show you a little trick that you can use on a horse that doesn't want to stand to be saddled. It takes a little bit of preparation work, which I don't show, but I can explain as we move along. You can see that he's not afraid of the saddle because he'll allow me to hold it and pet on him, but the minute that I begin to look like I'm going to put it up, it really bothers him and he feels like he needs to move away. We could spend a bunch of time chasing him around, trying to keep him from moving, but there is an easier way to help him work past his fears and get to the point where you can put a saddle up on him. We're going to put two different types of hobbles on Cotton to help him learn to stand still. The first one will be a cotton rope that will go around his neck, tied in a bowline, and we'll take that rope back to his hind leg and tie it to his hind leg. I like to have it where I don't have his leg completely off the ground, but only forward. A horse gets its power from its hind end, and so if you can take away a half of the drive line back there and still help them to stand up, you've gained a great deal of ground. You'll be able to see from a distance here as I put that hobble on his hind leg and kind of pull it up how it works, and then I'll do another with a GoPro camera so that you can see up close what I'm trying to do and how I tie it. Cotton is no different than us as humans. Lots of times we have a bad experience, and that bad experience takes a place in our mind, and we just can't seem to let it go. It controls many of our daily actions and decisions, and sometimes we don't even realize that we're afraid of something and that fear is controlling us. Sometimes we need to be put in a position that causes us to face our fears so that we can learn that we are actually stronger than the fear that's controlling us. We can either choose the method of how we'll learn to overcome our fears, or we can let life step in and force us into that situation. Cotton is in a position where we're going to help him to work through his fears. The first set of hobbles are on the hind. Now we're putting hobbles on the front. Those hobbles will help us to be safe and help him not to be able to move so easily. We introduced these hobbles to him one at a time. First the hind so that he could learn how to stand with that rope, and then second we put the set of hobbles on the front. Here I'm taking a 1-inch cotton rope and we're slipping it up over his head nice and slow so that he can feel comfortable with it. That rope has a bowline tied in it. If you don't know how to tie a bowline, there's lots of good information on YouTube about how to tie one. I take that soft cotton rope back around his hind leg, make 2 laps, and then take it back up to the loop where the bowline is tied. The rope overlapped itself, and that would bind on him and possibly hurt him, so I like to have it where it won't bind at all, and I readjust my rope so that it doesn't hurt him. Next, I take a 7-foot piece of lead rope and tie a big knot in one end. Then I take the middle of that rope and put it around the offside leg. I want to position these legs as close together as I can so that it makes it easier to get the wraps between the legs correct. I twist the rope around itself 3 times between those legs. Then it's very easy to take the end with the loop, slip it over the knot, and you have a secure hobble. Now we can help Cotton control his fear by binding his ability to run. I introduced the saddle to him the first time, and you can see this scares the heck out of him. But he's learned that those hobbles bind him in place. Now, because it's much harder for him to run from his fear, he actually takes the time to think about what just happened to him. We give him some time with that saddle sitting on his back to think and to calm down, and then we ask him to do it again. This time it scares him even more, and he really tries to make a move, but he's unable to really get away, and so he again stops and thinks. When he drops his head like that, he's looking for an answer. You can see that he licks and chews just a little bit, and then he's ready for us to try it again. Remember that it's not the pressure, but the release of pressure that helps a horse to learn. The pressure comes when we put the saddle up. The release of pressure comes as we pet on him and help him to feel comfortable and allow that saddle to just sit there. He'll tell us when he's ready for us to try it again. We'll know by the signs that he'll show us there, where his head drops and is beginning to feel comfortable with this whole situation. He's saying, okay, I think I've got this. When a horse is worried out in the wild, he lifts his head high so he can see what's coming. It helps him to be ready to fight or fly. So when we see a horse with his head in the air, we know he's nervous about something. It's only natural for him to put it up there and see if he needs to run. I swing the saddle a few times before I put it up just to warn him that it's coming, and you can see right there it wasn't a big deal to him. The key is to repeat this process over and over and over again until finally he's comfortable. He's kicking, but he's not kicking at me. He's kicking at the rope that's on the hind leg that really bothers him. So I allow him to kick all he wants, but I don't allow that to stop me from putting the saddle up. If I allowed it to stop me from putting the saddle up, it would be a reward to him for the kick, and he would learn that the kick keeps the saddle from coming up. We need to learn how to manage our fears. It's okay to be afraid, but it's not okay to be paralyzed. We hope that you learn something from Cotton's experience and ours. Face your fears, be strong, do not doubt yourself. We're riding Cotton right now, so we have more videos to show you of his progress. Please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, and you'll be able to see the progress that Cotton makes. He's a wonderful, great horse.